Welcome to the Bullvine Podcast, your go-to source for inside stories, cutting-edge research, and the latest updates in the world of dairy farming. Our 107th episode explores Dykman Dairy's $75 million debt. Is it mismanagement or misfortune? So please grab a glass of milk, sit back, and let's get started with this week's episode.
Abbotsford, in British Columbia's peaceful valley, is home to Dykman Dairy. This farm, which has deep roots in this peaceful Canadian countryside, used to be a model of farming success. Still, now, it's struggling under a crushing $75 million debt. Why did it get into so much trouble? Are risky banking practices, bad luck, or just bad management to blame? The answer could be a combination of all three.
However, significant risks came with this growth. They had to take out a massive $75 million loan to build new barns and milking parlors, which grew by an average of $800,000 a year for many years. Extreme weather, flooding, and unstable milk prices have shown how poor the farm's finances are. This shows how important it is for dairy farms to plan their money carefully. The dairy business is significant to this area of British Columbia because it creates jobs and helps the economy. Dykman Dairy uses green methods and new technology. Still, its money problems show a bigger problem for other farms in the area. You must find the right balance between following traditions and trying new things without taking too many risks. Because of the debt problem, farms need to be careful about how they grow and ensure they have good financial plans.
When small mistakes add up, they cause significant problems, like Dykman Dairy's money problems. Over the last 5 years, the farm's debt has grown to $75 million. It's interesting to consider how this sudden rise happened. The problem is due to poor planning and excessive growth. For decades, the farm's debt increased by about $800,000 a year, indicating that it took risks without having enough financial control. Interest rates. As rates rose from 2% to 7%, paying off debt became tough, putting the farm in a tight spot. Market conditions. Fluctuating dairy prices and rising land and labor costs made achieving financial stability challenging. Economic factors, global supply chain issues, and local climate events like the Sumas Lake flood added unexpected costs. These signs point to a problem with bad management and spending too much money. Without a good backup plan, the farm's fast growth was a risk that didn't pay off. This story should warn others in the agricultural sector about balancing goals with budgeting.
Dykman Dairy faces severe challenges due to its management decisions, notably its significant debt. Let's break down where things possibly went wrong. Overexpansion. The dairy grew too quickly, building costly facilities and the cost of quota beyond what was financially wise. This growth aimed for significant results but lacked practical financial grounding. Budgetary oversights. Despite producing a large amount of milk, 27,000 liters daily, the income couldn't cover their hefty debts, with monthly interest reaching $465,000. This mismatch highlights poor budgeting. Lack of contingency plans. Economic changes and the Fraser Valley flood hit hard, showing the need for better risk management. The dairy wasn't prepared for such disruptions. Dykman Dairy's story concerns growth and what can happen when ambition overshadows common sense. It stresses the importance of careful growth, good money management, and risk-taking for stable farming businesses.
To understand Dykman Dairy's debt crisis, you must know how banks work with the dairy. Were banks giving advice, or did they push people to take risks? Both roles are clear. Banks like Scotiabank extended large lines of credit to Dykman Dairy, helping the company grow quickly. At first, the lending was helpful, but as it grew, it became dangerous. Dykman owed an unbelievable $75 million, which raised concerns about how banks should handle debt. Some farmers say banks lend money too quickly and don't care how much debt their clients can handle. When Dykman switched banks to Scotiabank in 2019, they promised him better credit terms. Still, debt grew significantly, suggesting that these promises were more critical than proper risk assessments. Some think that banks didn't fully consider how the dairy margins and prices changed. Dykman's management and financial backers may have gone in the wrong direction because they didn't plan well and were hurrying to grow. The Dykman Dairy crisis shows us what can go wrong when we put our ambitions ahead of our safety. It makes people wonder if banks kept their partners out of financial trouble or pushed them toward it.
It wasn't just their fault that Dykman Dairy was having trouble. Big problems from the outside hurt them a lot. The floods in the Fraser Valley in 2021 were unlike anything they had ever seen. Too much water damaged the farms, breaking things and causing expensive damage, worsening their financial problems. Changes in the market were also challenging. Prices for things like feed and tools went up, even though Canada's supply management helped. This was partly because the global supply chain was messed up after the pandemic. Not having enough of something and paying more to move it around led to unexpected bills that complicated things for places like Dykman Dairy. The dairy had a hard time with money because of pressures from the outside and mistakes they made.
Dykman Dairy's problems show the challenges today's farmers face. Using expert advice and practical steps can help turn things around. Here are some tips. Revise financial plans. Review your finances and work with experts to adjust debts. This might mean changing loan terms to pay over a more extended period or getting lower interest rates. Diversify and innovate. Try making new products like cheese or yogurt, or consider agritourism. These options can create extra income and protect against market changes. Optimize costs. Cut costs without sacrificing productivity. Consider tools like precision farming and automated feeding and milking. They may cost money up front, but will save in the long run. Strengthen lender relations. Communicate honestly with lenders. Regular updates about financial status can build trust and lead to better loan terms. Seek support. Research government grants and work with local groups to share resources and negotiate as a team. Manage risk. Prepare for future challenges with firm risk management plans. This includes having insurance, finding different income sources, and using practices that help adapt to climate change. Recovering from debt is tough, but with thoughtful planning and fresh ideas, Dykman Dairy may get back on track and succeed.
We've looked at Dykman Dairy's history, which is full of big plans for growth, much debt, and problems like natural disasters and economic changes. They got into trouble because of bad management and bad banking practices. Was it bad luck, bad management, or both? It's most likely a mix. Important factors included bad management choices like taking on too much debt and growing too quickly. But things in the economy and environment made things worse. What should we learn from this then? What do you think will happen to the dairy business in the future? How can reforms keep farms from going through the same problems? Join the conversation to help the farming industry become more stable.
Thank you for tuning in to the Bullvine Podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's insightful discussion. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Catch you next time on the Bullvine Podcast, where bovine expertise and community come together.